And then, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Sunday afternoon, so yesterday afternoon, it started to get cloudy, get a little bit windy, and it seemed like it was just spitting. It was just drizzling, chispeando. But then I was like, oh no, it's snowing. You could see the snowflakes were falling, and I love snow. It just makes everything feel very cozy when you're at home. So I
Yeah.
quickly went outside, put my gloves on, my hat on, my scarf on, recorded a quick video, had a little snowball fight, and then chilled at home. And I woke up this morning and it had all gone. It had all melted. Hola a todos y bienvenidos una vez más a Inglés Británico Podcast conmigo, Lewis y Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we started recording, but it's raining here in Gijón, but we had a lovely weekend, really, really sunny weekend. How about you?
Well, it's strange because it was also sunny here in Brussels and it was very cold. It was freezing outside, but it was sunny. And then, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Sunday afternoon, so yesterday afternoon, it started to get cloudy, get a little bit windy, and it seemed like it was just spitting. It was just drizzling, chispeando. But then I was like, oh no, it's snowing. You could see the snowflakes were falling, and I love snow. It just makes everything feel very cozy when you're at home. So I
Yeah.
quickly went outside, put my gloves on, my hat on, my scarf on, recorded a quick video, had a little snowball fight, and then chilled at home. And I woke up this morning and it had all gone. It had all melted. Pwah.
all those snowmen gone, all those children crying. Where is my new friend? Where did he go? Brilliant. I mean, that's the good thing about snow. It's magical, isn't it? It's cozy when you're at home, but it has that magical factor. Harry Potter, I know I always talk about Harry Potter, but all of the Christmas scenes, there's snow and the castle. I don't know, it's a not just a Christmas thing, it's a magical thing where kids, wow, look at it, even adults, oh my God, it's snowing. Yeah, I think it's like if it's cold but not snowing, what's the point? But if it's cold and snowing, at least it compensates the cold. Yeah.
Absolutely. And given that I mentioned this, let's just recap a couple of words and phrases. So, the verb in Spanish, cuajar, meaning when the snow actually sticks to the ground. Chris, what is this verb in English when the snow stays on the ground? What do we say?
Well, I'm glad you described it in English because I had no idea quahar. That's the first time I've heard that. But I would say the snow sets on the ground. Like if the snow sets, it's when you can see it. And then really, I think the negative would be it doesn't set. I don't know if you have a more specific term for it, but in Brighton, we would say, oh, the snow set, or oh, it's snowing, but it's not setting.
I think we can use to, set or settle. So the
Yeah, I've
snow
heard
is
settle.
settling or the snow is setting. So
Yeah.
that's one important verb to remember. Now a few others. So, un muñeco de nieve. Chris, in English?
A snowman, which is maybe not politically correct in today's world. Maybe a snow person or a snow human. No, we can't say snow human. That's the one thing we can't say is a snow human. A snow person who could identify as whatever they want to identify as. I don't know what the modern term is. I grew up snowman. That's what I called them. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Absolutely, a snowman. And you make snowman because you have lots of snowflakes that are falling on the ground. And one thing I didn't mention, which was actually this morning, I went out for a quick run. And again, when I left the house, it was sunny. And then it started spitting, chispeando. It started spitting. And then I noticed that actually these little drops, these raindrops, were quite painful. And I was like, oh, it's hailing now. So it started hailing. Empezó a granizar. It
Yeah.
started hailing. So yeah, the weather has been all over the place over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I love that expression all over the place. Just yeah, complete mess. You never know what's gonna happen. Yeah. And a very British way to start the Inglés Britannico podcast, I think, as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Us Brits, we love small talk, and most small talk tends to be related to the weather, and it tends to be about complaining about the
Yeah.
weather, moaning about it.
But it's in like a positive, not positive, but it's in a fun way. We complain about it in a very kind of ironic, fun, laughing at our own misery kind of thing. Yeah.
No, absolutely. We are on the same page. We see eye to eye. But now let's get cracking. Let's kick off. Let's get started. And what we're going to do is take it in turns, as usual, to ask each other some questions. And I have Spanish translations for these questions as well. I'm going to share my screen, and you will see in total, I've prepared 10 different conversation questions which all focus on different, relatively advanced adjectives in English. But don't worry if you think they're advanced, because, as luck would have it, all of the translations are quite similar in Spanish. So, let's get started with question number one. First, I will read the English and then the Spanish. So, Chris, are you meticulous when you work or study? In Spanish, ¿eres meticuloso cuando trabajas o estudias?
Well, first, I'd just like to quickly mention what you said about the advanced questions, but very similar in Spanish. It's interesting, right? How lots of the really advanced vocabulary is very similar in English and Spanish. Not always, but a lot of the time, probably because of Latin and Greek origins. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, so sorry. Am I meticulous? I'd say with work, yes. I think I've done classes before where I didn't prepare them, and it's one of the worst experiences you can have. The students know. The students know if you haven't prepared a class and you try and wing it, and I'm very good at winging it, improvising. I'm very good at that. But when you try and wing a class that you haven't prepared, they know it, you know it, and it feels horrible. So, ever since those kind of classes when I was in my 20s, yes, now I'm very meticulous when it comes to planning my classes. Okay, who do I have today? Okay, I need to prepare this, etc. Studies? No, never. Like when I was a kid, no. When I was a teenager, no. When I was at university, no. And I don't really study anymore, but if I had to, probably no. I'm much more study at the last minute kind of thing. Yeah, like the night before, study all night. Hit the books all night. Hit the books to study a lot, normally the night before the exam or whatever. So yeah, I think at work, yes, I am very meticulous, but studies, no. And personal life, I know it's not part of the question, but personal life, not at all. No, I'm very, very just kind of go with the flow. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that would be my answer. Should we
Perfect.
move on? Would you like me to move on to the next one? Or maybe you got a
Absolutely.
fun
Let's keep
anecdote
going.
about meticulous?
To be honest, not really. I think I'm kind of similar to you, that I'm not particularly meticulous. I'm usually prepared, but I don't pay attention to every single detail. And I'm not a perfectionist in that. So that means I'm not really that meticulous. I think being a perfectionist and being meticulous, they go hand in hand, man de la mano. They are very
Yeah.
closely related. And just related to that, talking about being a perfectionist, many Spanish speakers will say, soy perfeccionista. In English, we can't use perfectionist as an adjective. We need to use it as a noun. So you are a perfectionist. So I'm not meticulous. Therefore, I'm not a perfectionist. But
So,
no,
an
yeah, let's move
interesting
on.
question. Also, sorry, just a very quick, interesting question that maybe a lot of our viewers and listeners might want to know the answer to. What about your social media content, your Instagram reels, your YouTube videos? Are you meticulous in that aspect? Or if maybe you record a video and then you hear there's a mistake, do you re record it? Or are you just like, you know what? I mean, I don't because my Spanish isn't perfect. So sometimes I notice a mistake and I'm like, you know what? I'm not a native Spanish speaker. I don't need to re-record this. I don't think. What about you with your Instagram content? Are you meticulous?
I mean, honestly, no. Maybe I should be more meticulous. I know that I make mistakes when I'm recording. Sometimes I'll say the wrong thing, or I won't explain something in enough detail, or maybe I'll make a mistake with the captions, or I'll
Yeah.
leave out information. And I think this is natural. I mean,
Yeah.
if every time I saw a mistake, I had to redo the video, then I'd never end up posting anywhere near as much as I would like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always prefer quantity over quality. Whether that's the right approach, I'm not sure, but it's the way I do things.
Yeah, no, I think if it's still understandable, then it's no problem. I mean, make a lot of mistakes in my captions with the tildes because I've never learned how to write Spanish. I've learned through conversations, so I very rarely write in Spanish, only on WhatsApp. And in WhatsApp, it does the tildes for you. It's brilliant. So yeah, I always make mistakes with the tildes, but again, I'm not gonna re-edit the whole video just because the K doesn't have a tilde over the E. Like I imagine most Spanish speakers understand what I mean by que significa without the tilde. I'm pretty sure they know what I mean. So yeah. But sorry, so let's go on to the next one. So ubiquitous. Like interestingly, me and Lewis had a funny conversation before recording because I wasn't 100% sure on the pronunciation and I had to confirm with Lewis. Yeah, ubiquitous. So, what technology do you think is ubiquitous today? In Spanish, ¿qué tecnología perdón, ¿qué tecnología crees, no creo yo, no, ¿qué tecnología crees que es omnipresente hoy en día? Sorry, perdón.
All right. I mean, you got a bit of a tongue twister there, right? Un
Yeah,
trabalenguas.
it's Monday as
But
well. Like, that could be my excuse. Yeah.
so, what technology do I think is ubiquitous today? I think it is the elephant in the room, the thing that is taking over the world and changing the way that we live, with the way we work, with the way we travel, the way we socialize. And it is, of course, AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. Nowadays, I think AI is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And there are very, very few companies that aren't adopting AI because, I mean, the advantages are
Yeah.
huge. You can become so much more efficient, faster, but there are also some dangers or disadvantages. Maybe it makes you less creative in some ways because we're all copying the same kind of prompts and ideas.
Yeah.
So that's one downside. And then obviously, AI is going to make many people lose their jobs. It's hard to avoid this fact that maybe I'm wrong, but I think many people will have to either retrain
Yeah.
or end up being unemployed because of how much AI is going to change companies and the way they operate. So AI is ubiquitous, but I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, we've spoken about AI before because yeah, we're both fans of it, but yeah, we both also see the dangers of it and what could happen to thousands, maybe millions of people. So yeah, no, I completely agree. It's a very strange one. It's very ubiquitous, but is it good or bad? Like it's a kind of well, it's both really. Yeah.
Exactly. let's hope that everything works out. And let's
Yeah.
hope that everything works out as we would like to think. But moving on from AI, we can return to this topic in the future. And by the way, the amount of times that I hear students say, la IA,
Yeah.
yeah. So just remember, we never say but it is AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, third question. Chris, do you know anyone with impeccable manners? In Spanish, ¿conoces a alguien con modales impecables? So notice the difference in pronunciation. In English, we say impeccable, impeccable. And in Spanish, of course, the pronunciation impecable. Chris, do you know anyone with impeccable manners?
This guy, I think, yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the situation. Obviously, when I'm with my friends, maybe less than impeccable manners. But I think in general, social situations, out in public, or any interaction with strangers, maybe on the metro or in a cafe. Yeah, I think I do have impeccable manners. A lot of my students and a lot of my friends as well, they always say, but is it real or is it just fake? Oh yeah, it's totally fake. It's like 100% fake. It's not 100% fake. It's 50% real. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, like very, very polite, impeccable manners. But then sometimes it is 50% of just, I don't want this to be a thing. You know, like if I say, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" It becomes a thing. People are looking at you. "Oh, what's happening here?" It becomes a drama. So yeah, but I think in general, yeah, I do have impeccable manners, especially with my pleases and thank yous and sorries, and maybe less so eating. I'm not a disgusting eater, but for example, I do put my elbows on the table sometimes, and that's taboo, yeah, you shouldn't put your elbows on the tables. But yeah, but like with the knife and fork, yes, I think I have impeccable manners. But I think, yeah, it really depends on the context. I think maybe that's a very British thing in general. Maybe not impeccable, because obviously the meaning of impeccable, impeccable is like, 100%. But I can't think of anyone who would have impeccable manners, really, because everybody's going to make a mistake. If they're angry, maybe they've just broken up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, maybe they've lost their job. So in those moments, you might not have impeccable manners, but you can kind of justify it. So yeah, it's a difficult question because impeccable is, yeah, obviously impeccable. Yeah, it's like 100%. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But let's just say
I
this
mean,
guy. Yeah.
I don't know. Well done, well done. There is a guy online, and I'm sure his content has popped up on your feed before, and it's this really blonde, posh English guy who's always wearing a suit and always showing the
Yeah.
perfect etiquette, the perfect manners of how to use a knife and fork, how to eat pizza, how to do all of these things. And I think he's taking the piss a little bit. I think it is a little bit tongue in cheek, which is a nice way of saying it's a little bit kind of ironic or sarcastic. But I'm sure you know who I'm on about, who's always showing how to have fantastic etiquette when you're out for a meal and stuff like that. And it seems that what he is trying to promote and show is how to have impeccable manners. But come on, if you're enjoying your food, you're going to use your hands. And I think
Yeah,
that's
especially with a
a sign of
pizza.
respect as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, it shows that you're enjoying life. So sometimes impeccable manners aren't all that. Maybe they are
No,
overrated.
I agree with you. And just before I ask you the next question, very quickly, I'm sure our listeners and our viewers understand manners, or maybe they understood it from the context of that conversation. But educación, obviously, I know in Spanish, educación could be from school, education, or manners. In English, we don't say education to talk about our manners. Please, thank you, sorry. These would be manners. But perfect. So let's go on to ambiguous. So let me just move my video screen so I can see the question. There we go. So do you find it annoying when instructions are ambiguous? I love this word, ambiguous. So en español, ¿te molesta cuando las instrucciones son ambiguas?
Hmm. Well,
Oh,
do
yeah,
I?
sorry.
I would say that I don't really find it annoying when instructions are given to me that are ambiguous. Maybe it could be a little bit confusing, perhaps. And yes, that is down to the person who is explaining something. But I tell you what does get on my nerves and what does annoy me is when I'm explaining something in class or similar, and I find that my own instructions aren't very
Yeah,
clear. I'm trying to explain something and I'm not really able to distinguish it clearly, and I find that my instructions are very ambiguous, then that does annoy me. Because, of course, I want to be as clear as possible, to be as good of a teacher as possible. And there are times when maybe you're asking a question or giving some instructions and you can't quite explain yourself how
yeah,
you would like. And then it can be annoying when you notice that your own explanations or own instructions are ambiguous, which is why usually the best thing to do is to keep things as short and simple as possible with examples. Because I
yeah,
think examples are the best explanations, because that way you can see what you've got to do and just essentially copy it. And that way
yeah.
it's less ambiguous.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest fears as a teacher and doing these live podcasts. With Instagram, it's okay. You can edit and delete. But these well, they're not live, sorry, but we don't edit these, do we? We record them. If there are mistakes, who cares? But yeah, so that's one of my biggest fears is that I talk too much. I over explain. And in my head, it's like, yeah, explain more. This is helping. Explain more. But in reality, the words coming out of my mouth are just making it more and more confusing. Yeah, I hate it. I also want to apologize. I skipped a few questions on your list. Sorry. I didn't see you scroll down, so I just read the fourth question, which was my next turn. So I'm sorry about that. I saw you highlight it so our viewers can see. Yeah, sorry.
No worries, no worries. I'm a bit of a tricksy guy. I'm
Yeah.
scrolling up and scrolling down, and we can go over any of the questions in a random order. So let me pick one at random. And I'm going to go with, hmm, let's continue with the one just below ambiguous, which is pragmatic. So, Chris, are you pragmatic when you make big, important life decisions? In Spanish, eres pragmático cuando tomas decisiones importantes. And just by the way, related to that, make decisions or take decisions. Well, make decisions is correct and without a doubt the most common options. But if somebody does say, I took a decision, it's got to the point where I don't really correct it so much, because
Yeah.
there are some native speakers who will say, I took that decision. And I think it's just an influence from different languages where it's become acceptable to say, take decision as well as make decision. So I would advise using make, but if you say, I took a decision, it's not necessarily wrong. And personally, as an experienced teacher, I'm not going to correct it, because if you look up different clips, which we both post on our videos, you can search take decision and you will see many, many examples from
Yeah.
native English speakers. So both are correct, but make is better.
Yeah, I've seen it recently on Netflix series, and I've had this same conversation with a student. It's like it is make a decision. My whole life, I was born and educated in the UK. It's make a decision. But you're right. I've heard other native speakers use it on Netflix as well. So again, it must be just accepted now. And same as you, I've stopped correcting my students. Like make is better, but take, yeah, okay, it's fine. Yeah. But sorry, so the
Absolutely.
question, I think you need to quickly translate the pragmatic question. I
No,
think, did
I
you
already
say in
have. It
Spanish?
was
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. Are you pragmatic when you make big decisions? Eres pragmático cuando tomas decisiones importantes.
Yes, I obviously don't have a great memory, but but yes, I think I am very pragmatic. However, I'm also very impulsive. So I need to find that balance. Obviously, we were talking before we started recording about how I'm quitting smoking. That's the plan because it's a disgusting
Woo!
habit. Yeah, I can't wait. So this was again a very big decision. I made it pragmatically by thinking about all the pros and cons. I mean, they're mainly pros. Let's be honest, it's mainly pros. But also, me personally, I need devices like air inhalers, things like this to help me quit. So, again, lots of research, reading the reviews, like really kind of very pragmatic. But at the same time, as soon as I read like two reviews that were like, yeah, this has helped me quit smoking, buy, add to cart. So it's kind of, yeah, like a mixture. I have to find the balance because there's also the buyer's remorse or even pre-buyer's remorse where you have the idea to buy something, but when you think about it too much and you're, not being impulsive, then maybe you start doubting that purchase, that decision to buy something. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I like to think I'm pragmatic, but I think a lot of times my impulsivity wins. Yeah,
Perfect. It's a combination of the two. Half pragmatic
exactly.
and half impulsive.
Because I'm trying to think of what the word, the opposite of impulsive would be hesitant, hesitant. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
you don't want to be pragmatic, but also hesitant. You need to find that balance where you make a decision, yeah, rather than be hesitant and stall. Stall like esperar or like yeah. How would you say stall, Lewis? In the to
mean,
stall,
I don't
making a
know
decision.
the exact translation, but if you are stalling, it's kind of like you are taking time almost, you're pausing. So we could maybe say like to entertain, like entretener, but we could also say that if you are stalling, you're just pausing, you're waiting, you're kind of waiting to see what happens.
Yeah. Could you say delaying? Would that make sense in Spanish? Like estoy oh no, don't tell me. Oh my God. How have I put retrasando?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Well, let's go on to
exactly.
the next question. If you wouldn't mind scrolling down a little bit, now that we have the option to choose, I would like to ask you about. I mean, this is one of my favorite words in English, mainly because of how useful it is. Intricate. I love intricate. I can't think of any other word that can mean the same thing when talking about maybe fiddly. But anyway, sorry, let me ask the question. Sorry. But anyway, intricate. So, do you enjoy films with intricate stories? En español, ¿te gustan las películas con historias intricadas o complejas?
Hmm. Well, I think I'm quite a simple guy when it comes to series and films. So it can be nice to have intricate stories, but being intricate usually means that you have to really pay attention. You have to concentrate on what's happening to be able to follow the script and the plot and the story. So if I'm in the mood for actually paying attention,
Yeah.
then it can give you a bigger reward if you're paying attention and you actually understand all of these intricate twists and turns. But as I said, I'm a little bit of a simpleton, meaning quite a simple guy. So a lot of the time when I'm watching a series or a film, I just want to sit back and relax and enjoy it. And there are many times when my fiance will like turn to me and ask me, like, what do you think's happening there? Or what did he say? Do you think that's related to this? And she will be really, really into the story and following it so closely, thinking about who's behind the murder. And then she'll ask me, and I'm like, huh? Like, I don't know. I was like,
I
yeah,
love that.
maybe. Like, usually I'm just like, oh no. And maybe I'm paying attention, but I'm not quick enough to be able to explain what I'm thinking in the moment. And that's usually when it's related to intricate stories because I'm just not quick enough at following
Yeah.
all of the little twists.
But for example, we're both football fans, and I mean, a great way to describe intricate passing would be tiki taka. You know, the Spanish invented tiki taka, that
Mhm.
Barcelona, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets. Another way to describe tiki taka is intricate passing. Like, again, I can't think of a sin like very detailed, very, it's just, it's intricate. It's such a perfect word to describe that very precise, very complete, correct. It's a brilliant word. Yeah, very intricate passing, tiki taka.
Oh no, absolutely. Intricate could be used for different motives as well. But we've got 5 more minutes, give or take. So let me pick one final question for you, Chris. And I'm gonna scroll back up because I want to ask you about your social skills. So, the adjective is astute, which of course is the same in Spanish. So, do you think you are astute in social situations? In Spanish, ¿crees que eres astuto en las situaciones sociales? Chris, what would you
Well,
say?
well, well, so I'm actually going to answer this with a funny anecdote, which is 100% true. Yes, I am. And the anecdote is my mum giving me maybe the biggest compliment and one of the biggest insults of my life in the same sentence. So it was at my sister's wedding. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, like in England, it's very common that you have the main table, which is just a long table where everybody sits in a row, the bride, the groom, the parents, and then the best man and the maid of honor, the important people. The brothers, we sit with the rest of the common folk. We don't sit at the main table, the brothers, we have to sit with the common folk. So anyway, I was with my sister's friends on a table and, just chatting, being myself. And my sister's best friend, the maid of honor, told me this story afterwards. My mum, who was sitting next to her, was like, "Hey, look at my son, Chris. He may not be the most academically intelligent, but look how he can just socialize with a group of strangers and, like, make it seem normal." So I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, it was a really nice thing to say, but at the same time, she did call me a bit stupid. But no, obviously,
Uh-huh.
no, I take it in the positive way that she meant it. And so, yeah, I think I've always had that ability to be very socially astute. I know when to make certain jokes. I know when people are maybe angry and not to, act in a certain way. Yeah, I think I have a very high level of social intelligence. I mean, I went to university. I have some academic intelligence as well. I got a degree, guys. Yeah, I got a degree and a
Wow.
master's as well. Yeah. But yeah, I think socially it's where I shine, which is a great expression, like where I really show my true ability. Maybe sometimes I don't even like it. Lots of people think I'm an extrovert, but some days I am quite introvert. I want to sit at home on my own, watching Harry Potter, playing Xbox, whatever. So even if I'm not feeling sociable, I still have that ability to fake it. So I think, again, I don't know if that's social intelligence or sociopath. Yeah, I don't know which one of those it would be, but let's go with
Let's go
social
with social
intelligence. Yeah,
intelligence.
it
It
sounds better
sounds
than
a lot better.
sociopath. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And by the way, a nice thing that we can explain here is that your mum, I think, well, it sounds like she wanted to give you a compliment, but it didn't exactly all turn out like that. And a nice idiom to express this is that that was a backhanded compliment, meaning
Yeah.
that it was praising something about you, whilst at the same time kind of criticizing something else. So saying that you're not the smartest, but you've got great social skills is a backhanded compliment. It's like un
Yeah.
cumplido de esos que no sabes cómo o por dónde tomarlo. It's like you don't know how to
Yeah.
take it. It's like, okay, wait, was that a good thing you said or a bad thing you said? A bit
Yeah.
of both.
I think her choice of words were very good because she could have said, he's a bit of an idiot, but he's very good with people. But no, he's not very academically intelligent. But look how socially brilliant, she chose the right words to help me take it in the right way. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Now we're gonna finish there, and we're not gonna finish with a joke this week. Even if you prepared one, I'm not gonna hear it
I'll
because
save it.
I, I want to do something slightly different. I've just come up with this idea off the top of my head. And for the next few weeks, well, I want to tell our listeners a random fact that maybe they weren't aware of. And I'm going to ask this fact like a question. So, Chris, I reckon you might actually know the answer to it. So, let's see if you're able to. And if not, I'm going to explain it. So, the question is everybody, and Chris included, do you know what the national animal of Scotland is? So, what is the national animal of Scotland? Chris, do
It,
you know it?
it, it still it still sounds like a joke. To be fair, like the setup still sounds like what is the national animal of Scotland? You know what? No, I actually don't know this, and I'm quite intrigued. Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm very intrigued to know.
So, it's not a joke, guys, but maybe I set it up as a joke. But I'll have you know that the national animal of Scotland is a unicorn. Trust me,
No,
check it out. Google it, ChatGPT it.
no. But
It
like
is
obviously
a unicorn.
metaphorical, like a metaphorical unicorn, or
I mean, I was going to say a real unicorn, but real unicorns don't really exist. So
well,
I
no, no.
don't
But I
know the
meant like
origin of the story.
yeah, that's what I meant. Like, not like, not the Scottish people believe in unicorns, but like, is it like a metaphorical, we believe we are magical? I don't know. Like, is there some kind of like your spirit animal? That's the vocabulary I was trying to find. Like, do they see it as their spirit animal or their national animal?
That will have to be an open question to our
Yeah.
audience. If they can do the research and find out why the national animal of Scotland is a unicorn, then we can be taught by you whilst we are trying to teach you. That way, we have give and go and we can learn from each other. Perfect. So, anyway,
Perfect.
on that
Win-win.
note, we're going to call it a day and finish off for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if so, follow for more. And yeah, we'll see you next week on Chris's channel and then back on mine in a fortnight. 2 weeks. Una quincena. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.